Are AlphaTauri and Red Bull actually sister teams? Christian Horner has said that AlphaTauri is now a sister team rather than a junior team. Franz Tost has said the team has grown up in the last years in that we show better performances. Each team has a win this year, with business as usual for Max Verstappen, who had 6 straight podiums to go along with his win. But in 2020, Pierre Gasly has also won for AlphaTauri. So are we actually seeing a progression to AlphaTauri being a true sister team to Red Bull, or will they still always really be Red Bull's junior team? Let's take a closer look. Okay, so are AlphaTauri and Red Bull Racing now sister teams? Have they been sister teams for a couple years? This isn't the first year we've heard them talk about these two teams being quote-unquote sister teams now and not a junior and senior team. What do the numbers have to say on it? Well, Toro Rosso joined in 2006, so what we have here is the 2006 through 2019 season, and then the last row is AlphaTauri in 2020 this year. And I'm not going to go through it year by year, but the important years to look at are the ones that have the red marks. A miniature X means that they were within 5 places in the World Constructor Championship that year. And the big asterisk here in 2008 is the year we're going to focus on first. In 2008, Toro Rosso actually beats Red Bull, where they finished 6th overall. Red Bull finished as 7th, largely in part because Sebastian Vettel wins a race that year for Toro Rosso. 1 year later, he gets promoted to Red Bull and rattles off 4 straight titles, as we all know. But it's a pretty interesting thing to bring in Toro Rosso as a, quote, junior team, especially early on, with Red Bull coming in 2005, and 2005 through 2008, they're not that overly impressive. They're midfield towards the back, yet they still bring in Toro Rosso to be a junior team at the time. From 2008 all the way down until 2015, Toro Rosso never comes within 5 places in the World Constructor Championship to Red Bull, largely in part because Red Bull wins the championship 4 straight years, but in general, Red Bull is just completely outperforming their quote-unquote junior team. Around 2015, things start getting a little bit closer. In 2015, we have them finishing 7th to 4th at Red Bull, 7th again to 3rd at Red Bull, and just last year, Toro Rosso improves to a 6th place finish overall in the WCC, finishing 3 places behind Red Bull, who again finished 3rd, which is where Red Bull has been stuck up until this year, behind Mercedes and Ferrari. In 2020, we get a name change, a new look for the quote-unquote junior team, and it becomes AlphaTauri, and one of the things they say during the press conferences for that, and now they've reiterated throughout this season, is that AlphaTauri is a sister team, no longer a junior team to Red Bull. However, when you look at the overall numbers of the existence of these two teams so far, 2 wins for Toro Rosso AlphaTauri, 4 podiums, versus Red Bull's 63 wins, 176 podiums. All of that said, when you look at the area that AlphaTauri has finished every year in the standings, there's a little evidence that they're getting better every single year. A slight improvement, a little bit of an outlier in 2018 where they fall back to 9th again. But they've been solidly in 7th and slowly kind of moving the needle towards that. But what they're really getting towards is being a solid midfield team. You know, somewhere between, I think, 4th and 7th is pretty reasonable and respectable for what we've seen coming out of Toro Rosso AlphaTauri over the last 5 years. Whereas Red Bull is in 2nd and 3rd pretty much every single season. So I think based on the numbers, there's no evidence to suggest that AlphaTauri is a sister team to Red Bull right now. Now that said, numbers can be deceiving. So one thing I do have to say is that over the last year, if you isolate from where we were in 2019 to where we are in 2020, I think there is evidence to show that AlphaTauri is closing the gap to Red Bull. In that time, we've seen Pierre Gasly get a podium in Brazil last year and a win. And if you look at 2020 alone, each team has 1 win. Verstappen for Red Bull and Pierre Gasly for AlphaTauri. In addition to that, Pierre Gasly does get demoted down, quote-unquote, to Toro Rosso last year after a difficult start. But when we look at these teams now, it kind of looks more like Pierre Gasly is the number 1 driver at AlphaTauri, whereas Max Verstappen is the number 1 driver at Red Bull, and each driver has their 2nd driver. Gasly is clearly the number 1 at AlphaTauri, Verstappen clearly number 1 at Red Bull. So from that standpoint, if we're to take Red Bull at face value when they demoted Pierre Gasly and everything they've said, which they have been consistent on, I believe they made a mistake demoting Gasly, but they've consistently said that this is a sister team and we think Gasly's better in that situation. And so far they've been right. Gasly has been fantastic since going back down to AlphaTauri and has looked really good, and Alex Albon finally podiums for Red Bull. So if this was a master plan between these two teams, it's looking pretty good right now. Alex Albon's confidence is going to be up after that podium, and Pierre Gasly's confidence is really high. Despite the retirement a week ago, I think that right now that's looking pretty good. The 1 weak link is the second driver at AlphaTauri. Now, that said, do I ever think AlphaTauri is going to be a sister team battling, head-to-head with Red Bull week in and week out? No, definitely not. I don't think there's any evidence to suggest they're going to get there. What I do think you could have here is AlphaTauri developing cars on their own, which they're already doing a little bit this year, and being a solid upper midfield team that competes for podiums every once in a while and maybe gets a win here and there. I think that'd be great for the sport if that's ultimately what happens with these two teams under the umbrella of Red Bull, the organization. That said, let's take a look at the bottom of the board. 6 drivers have been promoted lifetime from Toro Rosso AlphaTauri to Red Bull. That was Sebastian Vettel, Daniel Ricciardo, Danny Kvyat, Max Verstappen, Pierre Gasly, and Alex Albon. And of course, 2 drivers have also been demoted from Red Bull back down to AlphaTauri. Again, there's the question, is this a demotion for Pierre Gasly or just a better situation? If you ask Christian Horner, it's just putting him in a different situation. And maybe he's right. Maybe that's what's actually going on. But yes, it's Pierre Gasly, then Kvyat get demoted down. Gasly replaced by Albon, Kvyat by Max Verstappen, of course. And when we look at the winners of these two teams, Toro Rosso AlphaTauri has had 2 drivers that got promoted up that have ever won there. Well, they only have had 2 drivers who have ever won in those cars. And Sebastian Vettel in 2008, and of course Pierre Gasly just 2 races ago here in 2020. Of these 6 promoted drivers, how many went on to win for Red Bull? 3 of them. Sebastian Vettel, obviously 4 championships, has been fantastic for Red Bull when he was there. Daniel Ricciardo, tons of success, Monaco Grand Prix. And of course Max Verstappen's the future of this team and is winning quite frequently. Maybe not as frequently as he would like in 2020. Those 3 drivers have seen the success in Red Bull. So what do you think? Do you think that AlphaTauri is truly a sister team to Red Bull Racing right now? If not, do you think they're headed that way and will be a solid sister team to Red Bull, maybe competing head-to-head one day? Or do you kind of think they're just going to be at the top of that midfield and a really solid, good team that podiums every once in a while, maybe wins? In my opinion, I believe that's what's happening with AlphaTauri. I do take them at face value that they are trying to make that a separate thing from just a junior team at Red Bull. While the numbers overall in the history of the 14 years they've competed don't 100% show that, I do think if you isolate these last few years, there's been great improvements at Toro Rosso AlphaTauri. The team is definitely acting a little bit more on their own, separated from Red Bull. And when you take a look at what happened with Pierre Gasly, he didn't fit in well at Red Bull, and there was all kind of issues for whatever reason, and I've done other videos on that. But man, is he looking really good at AlphaTauri, and that could be the foundation for the success they're looking for that team to have and setting up kind of more of a sister team situation. I think saying sister team's a little misleading. I don't think that anyone in this organization believes that this team is going to be as good as Red Bull at one point, but I do think that instead of just being a junior team that finishes 10th, 9th, 8th, 9th, over and over again, that they are trying to create a team that can compete with Renault, McLaren, and some of those midfield teams, Racing Point, Aston Martin, maybe next year. And so I think that's what they're working towards. And hopefully we get to see the outcome of that in a year or two, where we have 2 solid teams, one that's probably competing for championships, but another one that's a solid team that can podium and maybe win a couple of races here and there down the line. So let me know what you think in the comments. Do we think this is a true sister team? Maybe you think that it's all smoke and mirrors, and that's really still the junior team, and we're going to see drivers getting promoted and demoted back and forth for the next 5 or 10 years again. Or maybe we are going to start seeing a situation where we've got a Pierre Gasly who wins a race every year. I think that'd be awesome, but I don't know that we're quite there yet. Thank you for watching this video. If you happen to cross it, please give me a like and a subscribe, and let me know what you think in the comments. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.